as follows. One, if you ever played Lego Star Wars, you might notice, or if you played Lego Star Wars too long, you might notice that the largest number of coins you can collect is 4 billion. And they rounded it a little bit. It's not technically, you can count a little higher, but 4 billion. And that's probably because what data type was Lego using to store the number of coins? Integers, which are 32 bits. Meanwhile, that's all fine and good. Like, they actually anticipated that and thought about it. Here's a Boeing 787, or actually, there's a funnier story here. Well, here's a Boeing 787 that actually ended up having documentation associated with it that says you need to reboot your plane every 248 days. Specifically, this Model 787 airplane that has been powered continuously for 248 days, if not rebooted, can lose all of its alternating current electrical power due to the computer simultaneously going into fail-safe mode. This condition is caused by a software counter internal to the computer that will overflow after 248 days of continuous power. So literally, a company like Boeing did not realize that if you leave your plane on long enough and you only use an integer, or 32 bits or whatnot, those numbers might creep up long enough, big enough, that it's going to roll over and have catastrophic consequences, like the plane turning off in this case. And a little less frightening, but nonetheless real, there's one final tale before we wrap up here, and it involves civilization, or Gandhi, in this case here. So if you actually, in the game of civilization, choose the character Gandhi, who's a very peaceful character by definition in the game, he had an aggressiveness level of just 1, which just means very unaggressive. But the authors of this game, civilization, only use 8 bits, which means you can only count as high as 255. So 255 would be like a lot of aggression. So 1 is not much aggression at all. But there's a feature in the game whereby if Gandhi, in his civilization, adopted democracy, there was a line of code that said any time a civilization adopts democracy, decrease their aggressiveness by 2, because there are content people. Unfortunately, if your aggressiveness level starts at 1, and you subtract 2, just as though you can overflow, you can also underflow, such that 1 minus 2 is not negative 1. That is actually 255. And so it looped back to the ludicrously high figure of 255, making Gandhi as aggressive as a civilization could possibly be. So there are very real-world design decisions here. And what we will do in the next lecture on Friday and beyond is actually explore these issues, start solving problems with them. Until then, Problem Set 1 is online. Orientation meeting is today and tomorrow. Stick around if you have any one-on-one questions, and we will see you next on Friday.
Of the Black Pirate ship. Now it's time for any secret message for you members of the Secret Circle. Remember, kids, only members of any Secret Circle can